Hello, welcome again to Jeff Stamps. I've got all of these lovely 1 penny King George V Australian stamps here, and there are different shades of red in all of these stamps, and you're probably wondering why. I touched on that briefly in one of my previous videos, so I'll go over that again. But a century ago, Labor Postmaster General Charles Fraser, he developed the kangaroo and map design, which I showed on a previous video. You can check that out, as an effective advertisement for Australia. And a few months later, his successor as Postmaster General, the Liberals, Agar Wynne, made plans to scrap the kangaroo and map stamp in favour of stamps featuring the monarch King George V. So together with the King's profile, the new stamp design also featured a kangaroo, emu, spring of wattle and the crown. So if we just have a look at one of these here, let's have a look. Yeah, so you can see the kangaroo on the left, the emu on the right, and there's some wattle there on you can see it in the left hand corner. Yep, and you might see some more on the right hand corner there. See the wattle there? So these have just arrived in the mail, all of these. And as you can see, just at a glance, there are some different variations of the inks, the different shades. See those variations in the different shades? You can see darker and lighter ones there. So the King George V stamp was a 1 penny denomination for basic letter postage within Australia, and also to British Empire countries, with a view to making the stamp look impressive. It was decided to use intaglio as the stamp printing office in Melbourne had no suitable engraver to cut a letterpress die. An order was placed with London stamp printers Perkins, Bacon and Co, and the firm subcontracted the actual engraving of the die to De La Rue, who was more experienced in letterpress stamp production. So the first release of the 1 penny or the 1D letterpress George V stamp occurred at the Sydney and Melbourne General Post Offices on the 17th of July, 1914. So production of the 1 penny kangaroo and map stamp, which as again we had on a previous video, you can have a look at those stamps. So after the first release of the 1 penny letterpress George V stamp, which occurred at the Sydney and Melbourne General Post Offices on the 17th of July 1914, production then of the 1 penny kangaroo and map stamp now ceased. And Agar Wynne had issued a King's Head stamp for 1 penny basic letter postage. So 3 new George V stamps of halfpenny, 4 penny, 5 penny denominations, issued at intervals during 1915, but World War I had a considerable impact on stamp production, and this is why we have our different variations in shade, because the supply of ink pigments from Germany was cut off and substituted pigments were usually inferior. So the consistency of colours could not be maintained, and in particular these stamps, these 1 penny George V stamps, appeared in a striking range of red shades, and adjustments to postal rates and changes to Universal Postage Union (UPU) rules in relation to colours for international postage stamps meant that there were many changes in the decades that followed. So there you go, just a little bit of a history on why there are different shades of these stamps, and you can see some of the postmarks there. I can't quite make that one out. Let's have a look at this one. Looks like George Street and Queensland on that postal, on that cancel. Queensland, last on that cancel there. Gympie, just north of Brisbane. The cancel there, Gympie cancel. Gympie's a small town north of Brisbane, just north of Brisbane. About 2 hours north of Brisbane, driving. Bit of a lighter shade one here. Another Gympie cancel. So a lot of these stamps, quite good condition there on the back. Very impressive. Yeah, there's hardly any marks. There's no hinging or anything like that on these stamps. So yeah, very happy with those. Some different postmarks there. Mainly Brisbane, Queensland, Gympie postmarks. Queensland postmarks through there as well. So yeah, very happy with that. I just thought I'd show you the different shades there because and what caused the different shades with those inks because of the lack of supply of ink from Germany. I hope you find these interesting as well. I'll just put these area here. These are some colonial stamps here. Oh, this one isn't a colonial stamp. Here's another King George V, 2p or tuppence. And you can see the wattle there in the two top corners. The kangaroo and the emu, you probably just make those out either side of King George V. So I'll add that to my collection there. Now this is a colonial stamp. Queen Victoria, or rather, yeah, Queen Victoria, but this is a, what's a perf stamp, perf and stamp. Victoria there, Queen Victoria. That's from the state of Victoria, obviously, in Australia. Halfpenny stamp. Threepence. OS. There's a perforation, which stands for on service. Colonial stamps continue. And Queen Victoria is featured there. It's another perf stamp. And as you can see there, OS with the perforation on the top there, on service, and New South Wales down below. So these stamps, these colonial stamps, each state of Australia had their own stamps, as we've mentioned before on previous videos, until Federation happened in 1901, and then we had the kangaroo and map stamp as our first definitive stamp, our first national stamp, and then that was 1913, a few years after Federation in 1901, and then in 1914, in July, around July 1914, the King George V stamps took over. And this is New South Wales colonial stamp here, 10pence. Love that stamp, beautiful looking stamp. Featuring Queen Victoria. And what's this one? Let's have a look. Oh, okay, this is Western Australia. It's a swan, has to be Western Australia. Yep. And on service as well. What's the denomination on there? Oh, it says postage threepence. Yep. Penny red. Penny red replaced the penny blacks. The reason they replaced the penny blacks, which was the world's first postage stamp, with the penny red is because you couldn't see the cancels very well on the penny blacks. They were putting a black cancel on a black stamp, so so they eventually changed the colour to red. So I've got a few penny reds, so I'm just collecting these penny reds. I love the nice, clear, sharp cancel on that one. You can see the gum on there, that's nice. You can see the cancel there on the back. Yep, 13, looks like. Just want to have a look. I showed you some stamps previously. Let's have a look. See if I can get this up here. Some of these stamps are very hard to pick up. Yeah, we had a look at the back of that one before. What's this one like on the reverse? See a little bit of rust there. It's not too bad though. Did we look at this one on the back? New South Wales. That's fairly good. Fairly good, yep. So I hope you enjoyed all that. Just some more colonial stamps there. I love that one. More colonial stamps, and also the different shades of those King George V stamps as well. So I'll have to get busy and start putting all of these into my stock album. So thank you very much for watching. Not a very long video. I really appreciate your time, and I'll be back with another one fairly soon. Please subscribe, and I really appreciate your time watching this. Bye for now.